Welcome everybody to the Real Dealz podcast, one of the top-ranked real estate investing podcasts for the last 7 years. This is the place to be for investing strategies you can actually use, expert interviews, and of course, some good old-fashioned entertainment. Now, here's your host for the show, Elliot, the REI guy, Smith.
What's going on, Real Dealz podcast listeners? Coming at you with episode 369 and the Boeckle brothers out of Las Vegas. These guys we met about 5-6 months ago. They started using our call center and they had been just crushing it. They had brokerage going on. They were buying tons of flips, doing 50, 70 flips a year, mainly buying off the MLS. And so the MLS was kind of getting a little bit tougher. They're still seeing success there, just not as much as they wanted. So they needed to go off market. So they came in to start using us through the call center. And we built a friendship and a relation since. And they've definitely inspired me, as some of the things that they've been doing has been awesome. And so we dive in a lot today about their business and how they built it, but also from a perspective different. You know, you hear a lot of stories of people bootstrapping it and how they really, they had no money and they bootstrapped it. These guys had both had dads in the industry that had been doing real estate investing on a big level down in Vegas, and their dads kind of helped them to a certain extent get started. Not doing it for them or handing them a business by any means, but financially they were able to go do this because their dads would help lend them money. Now, when we found out, they weren't lending it to them for free. It was actually really expensive money. So basically, I would say these guys are self-made in a lot of ways, and they have definitely earned and built this thing themselves really well. So the credit is to them, but it's just a really cool story about their dads and building it up, and then 2008 getting in there and getting crushed. But then the attitude their dads had and what they learned from them, because they were both self-made. And again, these guys are self-made. They have done it themselves. They're building an amazing, amazing business. They're also starting a YouTube channel, getting some content out there. So really think this is a great show. We did have a couple of audio issues in there, so I apologize if there's any audio issues. We just had some Zoom cut in and out a little bit. So other than that, what's going on with me? We got the clear to close on our 25 unit. So we will be closing down that on the 14th. So hopefully when I'm coming to you guys next week, we will be the new owners of a 25 unit, be 50-50 owners with our good friend, Greg Lynch, who was on the show a couple of months ago. And so got that going, looking at a commercial piece of dirt today to do some stuff on. My buddy owns a restaurant franchise that he started the franchise. Looking at moving one of his locations, and he invited me to come in on the deal with him on the other commercial aspect of it. So that's exciting. Made some offers on some houses this week. I think I did tie up a flip this week. I'm just waiting for the payoffs to come back and see where that goes. And other than that, call center is going great. Data business is going good. Easy button leads is going great. Yeah, guys, not a ton of new things going on here. Like always, if you guys like the show, please like and subscribe, or shoot me a follow on Instagram. But without further ado, I think you're going to really love this show this week, and we'll get into it. All right, here's our sponsor.
All right, Real Dealz podcast listeners, I want to talk quickly about our show's sponsor, Iron Bridge Lending. If you guys have not reached out to Iron Bridge already to talk to them about funding some of your upcoming flip projects, I highly encourage you to do so. I've known the owner of Iron Bridge for a very long time. I've personally borrowed millions of dollars from them over the years to do a number of different projects, and I can say without a doubt, they are the best hard money lending company I have ever come across, and that is the reason why they are the sole sponsor of this show. I've had a lot of other companies reach out to me and want to sponsor this show, but I just won't do it. I feel like I need to be genuine in who we have sponsoring the show, and it needs to be somebody that I've personally done a ton of business with. So I personally vouch for their ability to be the best, hands down, in the world of hard money lending. You won't find better programs, you won't find better terms, and they're lending or will be lending in over 20 states. So chances are, if you're hearing this in whatever state you're in, it's definitely worth it to check out their website, reach out to them, see if they're lending in your state, and if they are, I would absolutely encourage you to do business with them. Another very cool thing to note is that they have a program for most rehabs where you can actually borrow up to 90% of the purchase price. Now, this is given the fact that you are actually buying a deal, which if you're listening to the show, that means you probably are. But if you have an actual deal on the table, they'll fund up to 90% of your purchase price, and they'll even give you rehab funds on top of that, which means that it only takes 10% down to get into a project, which is unbelievable in the hard money world. So do yourself a favor, reach out to Iron Bridge Lending, have a conversation with them, see if they're a good fit for you and for your next project. I can guarantee you that you'll be happy that you did.
What's going on, Real Dealz podcast listeners? I am here with the brother duo out of Las Vegas. They're crushing it. Jesse and Landon Boeckle. And they have done a lot of cool shit. And they started using our call center back in December. We became friends. Cole and I instantly latched onto them. I think we're kind of high achievers, Cole and I, and these guys are definitely high achievers. And so pretty excited to have you guys on the show. What's going on?
Thanks for having us, man. We're glad to be on it with you.
Excited to do this.
Nice. So why don't you guys talk a little bit? First off, who's older?
I'm older.
Yeah.
I think I'm older by what, like 6 months?
Yeah, I think you're July. I'm November of 90.
6 months. So different moms?
Different moms, different dads.
We're technically not brothers, but we always get called brothers. We say we look alike, so we just roll with it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So
our dads are identical twins. So we're cousins. We're true cousins.
Right.
But man, when we're out and about and doing business, everyone every time asks, "You guys brothers?" You remind us of the Property Brothers.
It's rare that you see two ridiculously good-looking guys, everywhere you go. So.
Yeah, and I'm still looking for them because they're not here. All right, guys. So you guys are 29, 30, about my age, right?
Yeah, we're both 30.
All right, cool. And you are out of Las Vegas, and you guys have been doing real estate for quite a while. Why don't you guys talk a little bit about who you are, where you've been, what got you started in real estate, and go from there?
Sure.
Yeah. So I think I was first to jump into real estate. We're both born and raised here in Las Vegas. So, we're born and bred here in town. We know it like the back of our hand. I came out of college in 2013, went to Arizona State. Jesse went to Chapman. And I jumped right into real estate in 2013. So kind of started on the residential side of the business, joined Berkshire Hathaway, started doing traditional sales, really enjoyed the beginnings of that and the learnings behind just jumping in and diving into real estate. My dad and my uncle, they've sold a lot, done a lot of development. They've sold a lot of real estate in their time. We watched a lot of it happen over the last, 20 years. So I had a big interest in commercial as well. So 2 years after, in 2015, after 2 years at Berkshire Hathaway, I joined a commercial brokerage and started doing commercial retail centers, acquisitions, dispositions, a lot of retail lease tenants here in town. And that was a great 2 years. One of my mentors kind of took me under his wing, was a father figure for 2 years, kind of kicked my ass and really, had to get out of bed early, had to get in the office early, had to perform, unlike at Berkshire Hathaway where, I was my own agent and my own boss.
Yeah.
So that's where he really kicked me into gear. And then in 2016, late 2016, Jesse came back to town from working in tech down in Silicon Valley. And, we asked, I kind of built up the trust with the dads in the real estate game. Jesse built up the trust and the maturity just with what he was doing. So we asked, hey, can we get some private money and flip a first home? And kind of started from there back in 2016.
What'd they charge you? What rate they charge you?
It was a profit share. So it's a great way for people,
Yeah.
For getting started. It was just, you invest your sweat equity and time and we'll split what we make. And
That's all. What was the split though?
it's half, 50-50.
No,
Okay.
it started at,
Oh, it was lower.
We started at 70-30.
Yeah, we only
Okay.
made,
So my very first deal, I talk about a lot, guy. I first met him, same deal, father figure. I didn't know him until I started in real estate, but when I first met him, he said, "Don't ever ask me for money. I'll never give you money." And then 8 months later, after I've been talking to him, he's like, "You're giving too many good deals away. Let's do it. I'll buy it. We'll profit share." So we do it 75-25. And it's the greatest way. We made like 75 grand on that first deal. he made like 25 grand or 20 grand. And it was like, it was such a good way to get into it for both parties.
Yeah, I mean, we're 5 years in now. We've done 240 flips now, and we're still using that same private money from them. We're still flipping deals with them, and we're still on an equity split. And it's something that, if you're just starting out, to find that family member who may have some cash laying around, if you could source a deal, build the trust, and put in the time and effort, it's an incredible way to get started without having a lot of money out of pocket.
Are you still giving them a 70-30 split?
No, we graduated since then. So, after making them some money, we went to 60-40 after probably a year and a half. And then now we're at 50-50.
Oh, it was 70 to them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh shit. I was 75 to me, 25 to him.
No. This is a game of proving ourselves, dude. They are.
So they're sticking it to you. They're not making it easy. You're 50-50.
Right.
I mean, one thing, and we talked about it on our YouTube channel. We just did an interview with them last week that's coming out. One thing that they've taught us, I mean, Jesse and I, let's be transparent here. We're not coming from the gutter or, with our backs against the wall. We come from a well-off family. Our dads, they did not. They came from a very, very poor family. Their dad walked out on them when they were 12 years old, never came home. Being identical twins, they stuck with each other, and, they started from nothing and made themselves into, multimillionaires in their lifetime. So, we don't pretend that we come from, hard times. We don't. But one thing that they did instill in us from the get-go is you got to prove yourself and you got to work hard. Yeah. And we were just saying before we got on here, one thing we could rely on, Jesse told me 10 minutes ago, one thing we could rely on is every day we're going to walk into this office. He's going to be here. I'm going to be here, and we're going to work hard. And
it's been like that literally without fail since we started for 5 years.
And I admire that. I think that's one of the things because I do know your story a little bit, and you guys aren't lying. I mean, you guys are on it, and you guys are a team, but you guys are always grinding, even right when you got back from your wedding, I'm getting text messages. Hey, we need to talk about this. Let's go. Shit. You're probably even emailing when you're in Mexico a little bit. So you just don't shut it off. And so I think it's really cool because I didn't grow up super poor either. I mean, I wasn't rich, but it's that innate ability that your dad's transferred over to you and that showed you that work ethic is awesome. And it definitely shines through.
It's definitely one of the biggest reasons why we are the way we are. And when it comes to like how we got started in real estate, which we were just covering, it's something a lot different, I feel like, from a lot of other people's story, where it's like, I did this, didn't know what to do, so I got into real estate. We've talked about this. It's something that we kind of just always knew. Maybe we didn't acknowledge it. Maybe we didn't openly say it, but I just knew at some point in my young adult life, I'm going to be doing this because we were just around it so much and around their ethic and what they were doing and teaching without teaching. Yeah. So it was just like instilled. I know that I was going to go through and try some things, but I knew some way, shape, or form I'm going to end up doing this.
Yeah. My dad was a physician, but he flipped apartment buildings, flipped houses. And he would take me, even as a teenager, I go on appointments with him sometimes to these houses. And he'd be like, hey, see, I'm buying this house because I helped this person. And I don't know if you guys remember the giant nickels when you're going out to like a restaurant or breakfast, they have this little thing in this little newspaper, the free newspaper. He was running We Buy Houses ads in that back in the 90s. And so it's just like, and he never told me to go to college that I need to do that. He always told me real estate. So I had the same idea in that thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I loved college, don't get me wrong, but I wish I didn't go to college sometimes to get started sooner, because I went to college knowing, look, I don't need a degree. I'm here to, build maturity. I'm here to grow. I'm here to have a good time and have an experience. But the second I'm out, I'm going straight back to either work with him in real estate or work for myself in real estate. And that's exactly what I did. I just wish I would have done it sooner. So
if you look at what 5 years has built us here,
crazy.
5 years, we'd be so much farther ahead.
Yeah, but I wouldn't look back. I started working right at 21 because I was in rehab a week after I turned 21 and kind of had to get a job. But I mean, I look at kids that have gone to college, and I think there's so many relationships that you build in college. I don't think you can say one way or another. Like I have some of my buddies that have never needed their degree ever, but they're like the lifelong relationships from their frats or whatever of guys that they end up doing business with. And those relationships and experiences, they matter, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
I know
that
people
helps.
all over the world, and I love that. I mean, I had 91 people at my wedding because we have so many friends from college that I am still in touch with every day, and I'm still talking with every day. And these guys that are doing, they're all doing well for themselves as well. So I love college. I don't hate against college. It's just, if I would have started real estate 5 years sooner, what would it?
It's just not about the education you get.
Yeah, exactly. Now, did your dads lose it in the crash? Did they get hurt bad in the crash?
That's funny you ask that, because we talked about that specifically when they were on our interview for our YouTube channel. They made really smart and strategic moves in order to basically outlive the crash. So they were super invested in flipping big industrial pieces of land here, Arizona, Nevada. And when the ball dropped, they were stuck with hundreds of millions of dollars in their real estate portfolio.
So to answer the question, they got their ass kicked in 2008. They totally beat to hell, but with their intuition and with their, just entrepreneurial spirit, they don't stop. They don't take their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
They were able to keep their head above water, unlike a lot of other investors, around the world, doing creative stuff.
Yeah. So we're not talking about them, but to focus on you guys were then probably, cause I was 18, graduating high school, 19, you're 16 to 17 in that time frame, living at home with your dads and probably stressed the shit out. They're probably really stressed as this thing's crumbling around them. What did you guys, if you do remember, what did that teach you that helped that you guys are using today? Because this market is so uncertain, right? Like, what have you guys just learning from osmosis, right? From your parents of like, how has that changed your mindset in your business?
Well, one big thing that I recognized during that time when I'm finishing high school, going off to college, in seeing them do something so well, getting cut off right at the knees and starting something else without skipping a beat in order to keep progressing, it just made me think it doesn't matter what the world's doing. It doesn't matter what everyone else is doing or what everyone else is saying. You can go out and be successful, and the only difference is you.
Yeah.
You can go make that. It doesn't matter what's going on. And like the world basically shut down, and we still had fantastic year last year. We're having a fantastic year this year in the midst of a pandemic. It's just, it doesn't matter what's going on. If you listen to it and you believe it, you'll suffer just like everyone else. But if you decide that the difference is you and you go out and make it happen, there's nothing that's going on in the world that can stop you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that no quit attitude that we adopted, right? It's not a failure until you quit. A failure is not a failure unless you quit. Mm-hmm. Otherwise it's just a lesson. And I think they took that. They learned a lesson. I mean, in 2009, 2010, they started flipping homes, which kind of got us into the home flipping mindset to keep their head above water. They took what they had and started flipping homes literally with a tool belt. I mean, these are two most handy guys I know. They literally build everything they own from scratch, from their houses to the chain of bars they built. They built it all from scratch with their own hands. They were doing $100 million deals at one point, on their way to billionaires, down to
hanging ceiling fans.
Holy hell, we got to hang ceiling fans and put vanity lights up in these residential homes worth $200,000 because it's what we got to do. That's literally the swing they had. I mean, I think there's a story. I don't know if they want us to tell it or not. But
I want to focus on you guys too. I'm not trying to focus on them. I really want to know, like,
crazy though.
I think your dads are super important, but like you guys are your own men and you guys have built something really cool. I love learning about the lessons that you've learned, because you made a comment in there, like nothing was beneath them. And I think so much in this society nowadays is, people say, go to college so you can get a good job and you don't have to be like that guy digging ditches on the side of the road or being an electrician or nobody wants to work and have like actual work ethic. And I think it's almost, in my thought process, is it's actually easier to be successful now because so many people are so lazy and they want it handed to them and they won't do things that I graduated from college. I have a 4-year degree. I'm not changing toilets. I'm not, unplugging that, whatever it is, but that attitude of like, you just have to do it. right? And it's just, and so what's your guys' thoughts on that kind of mindset?
I was talking to someone at the gym today. If you're in real estate right now and you're working hard and you're hustling, I think us and everyone else who is hustling is making some of the most money and highest profit margins they've ever made.
Mm-hmm.
We may be making, this market might be the best market we've ever had in real estate. I don't know. But then there's a flip side where if you're not working, there's people who are like, oh, it's too hard, or multiple offers, or it's too competitive. Yeah, it's super competitive out there right now. We're having a hell of a time buying properties, but we have more properties now than we've had in the last 3 years because we're putting in the grind, we're putting in the time, we're putting in the effort, and we're trying to get creative each and every day to make it happen. So, you like to say, it's hard to be lazy and not make money and think about working, and it's hard to wake up and work hard. You got to choose your hard. Which one's better for you?
It's hard either way.
Exactly.
So
I'm with you guys, and you guys inspire me. I'm so happy. Like, I get energized whenever we talk to you guys. I just get energized. Even when we're talking offline and stuff, I'm like, fuck, I got to step it up. These guys are, these guys are crushing it.
Oh, so, you're crushing it. You're buying like 65 unit complexes.
I know. The problem is I hit the brakes last year when COVID hit, and I got, I'm kicking myself, but then we hit the gas on buying assets because I saw inflation coming. And I'm in this weird transition period now. I'm trying to get out of the single family wholesale stuff and also do more land development, apartments, bigger deals. But that transition period is really fucking hard because you got your hands still in different buckets. So what's your, that's a good way into what does your business look like today? And how does are you guys 50-50 partners? I know you guys have a couple other guys that kind of are with you. I don't know if they're partners. Why don't you guys break that down?
Sure. So we're 50-50 partners from the day we started. We own and operate a real estate brokerage, which we're 50-50 in. We have a flipping company, which we're 50-50 in. But then as different opportunities arise, team members grow and excel, we create other partnerships, maybe within the office or even outside, that allows us to go and try a new avenue. Or, we tried to buy an Airbnbs and now we're building a rental portfolio, and we do that with a couple other partners. So we are 50-50 in everything we do, but that doesn't stop us from incorporating other people and other strategies and doing other things. So to answer your question, the business today is mostly focused around Landon and my flipping company. And we do, 50, 75 flips a year where we split everything on those. And that's what we're at today. And just if you look at a little bit of a difference from where we started to where we are today, I'd say we are kind of graduating into a different price range. That'd be like the biggest difference in where we started and where we're at now. But in the future, I definitely don't see us doing the same type of deals, single family deals. I see us flipping apartment complexes, owning, multiple doors and multiple multifamily units and stuff like that, just on to bigger and better.
Yeah, I think we finally gotten ourselves to the point where we have enough of a consistent cash flow finally that we could take that and invest it into new opportunities. And it's taken us, 4 or 5 years to get here. Yep. This year, 2020 and 2021 especially have given us a huge boost. I mean, our numbers have gone from, an average profit margin of 19,000 a deal in 2019 to 2020, it went up to like 30,000 a deal. 2021, I think we're at like 65,000 a deal. Average profit margin. So with that being said,
the growth in what we're doing, and we're changing, and we're becoming more efficient, and we're more profitable. So I only see that continuing.
But you guys are also moving up levels, right? I feel like everybody, the shortest barrier of entry is entry level, low dollar houses in the hood or whatever it is, right? And that's where everybody starts out in this level. And then you guys, I've seen some of your flips that you're doing. You're doing higher end flips. And the one thing that Tucker always talks about, and he coached this guy in Scottsdale, which he was fighting and trying to do this entry level marketing and get this stuff. And he couldn't get anything because OfferPad, Open Door, Zillow Instant Offers, they're buying 800 homes a month. Plus you have every guru and every wholesaler and their mother going in that entry level price point. They stepped up into the mid to like the above $400,000 price point, and they killed it. Now there's more money to buy the houses, more costs for rehabs, but their margins went from one, not getting hardly anything, to get $200,000 profit deals because they just went up a level.
Right. We kind of snuck ourselves into a niche that has a lot less competition. So in a market where everyone's like, oh, it's so competitive, so competitive. Well, our market's not near as competitive as that, let's just say now, since, valuations have gone way up, 400,000 or below market, super competitive, right? You're competing against every single person in town, from owner occupant to cash investor and flipper. Now we're at really the $500,000 plus, and a lot in the $700,000 plus range, where, hard money doesn't make as much sense. Not as many owner occupants can buy in that range. So we're finding kind of that niche of that higher end level price point that's really working out for us.
And it's no harder.
Other than the contractor, like this is a different level of hard, right? Like it's not harder because you're not grinding as much, I would think, but it's like the thing I've always struggled with on the higher end flips is, you're doing less, but you're just bigger margins or bigger rehab budgets that are just, you have to have a little bit better educated contractors, right?
Right.
Sure.
So, But it might be easier because you are having higher level contractors able to do the work because the margins are there, right?
Yeah, and with that price point, I mean, when you're dealing with those $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 homes that are older homes, typically, the person that used to live in the home was probably a little bit, lower income property type person where they weren't as well kept. So, we're actually dealing with homes that are very well kept. They're just super dated and they just need a lot of work. And that makes it easier on us.
Another piece that makes it a lot easier is, and as we kind of experience these things, we just gravitate towards them. And then we kind of look back and see like, oh, that's why we're doing this. But the actual buyer themselves are so much more quality when you're getting into the higher price. But these people have money and they know what they want and they'll buy it if they like it. They're not struggling for every dollar. And I know that people are getting started. There's nothing wrong with those buyers, but it's hard to close a home when you need so many funds back. And when this doesn't work and they do something stupid and now they're not approved. And that buyer is so much more volatile than a higher end buyer.
Yeah, it's safer. That's this guy I was talking to, one of my buddies in Phoenix, Scottsdale. They actually said that the $1 million plus market is they own rentals, they flip and stuff, is safer than the under $1 million price point. So and you guys are benefiting. You guys are one of those states that are benefiting from migration too, right? You guys got a lot of money from California, staying with like Arizona, stuff like that. Why don't you talk about because that seems like you pivoted at the perfect time to hit that influx of capital, right?
Yeah, we've seen a huge amount of California cash buyers coming in. We've sold a lot of our homes. We work a lot in the age restricted communities as well. So a lot of those California retirees are coming into town and they're sucking up all these, retiree communities quickly, 1-2 days on market at or above list. So that's been great. I think Vegas is at like 25,000 California immigrants coming into town in the first quarter of 2021. So, I mean, we're going to see a couple 100,000 people a year coming into town from these these higher tax states, which is great for us.
As long as they don't go vote the other way and
right
the same way they were in California.
They're to the market's point, they're cashing out their 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Fullerton for $2 million, and they're coming and buying a mansion. They don't care what it costs. If it's 1.6, 1.7 listed for 1.8, I'm buying it because it's a dream home.
Right. That's awesome. 1,500 square foot for $1 million to 4,000 square foot in a country club for $1 million. It's an incredible trade-off for them.
Yeah, other than the summers are kind of hot, I think, right?
Yeah, but we got a nice lake here. We got fun time.
I know. So you guys pivoted that, but I think the cool thing that you guys have also done is you also have a good sized real estate brokerage along with it. Why don't you talk about how that looks and how many agents and why you think that's been an important part of your success and journey moving forward? Yeah.
So the Boeckle Group is a full service real estate brokerage. So I'm the broker of it. Jesse and I are co-founders and co-owners of it. We're constantly working on the foundation behind the brokerage. We have a broker manager in office. We have a transaction coordinator here in office. That's full service. And right now we're at 24 agents.
Yeah, 24, 25.
So 24 real estate agents, looking to grow, looking for producers that want to come in. And one dynamic that I think we have that to deliver to the agents or to deliver to the brokerage in value terms is 50, 60, 70 turnkey, fully staged properties a year that we're able to market as a company and as a brokerage that most other companies don't have, especially right now in low inventory.
Yep.
We stage everything, from a small condo in the ghetto to the multi-million-dollar properties. Everything gets fully staged and fully furnished. And that's just something that we've learned over time. It helps, from the sales perspective of the flips. And it helps the company as a whole, market.
It's a brand, right? You have a brand.
Right.
It feeds into content. It plays back into how we're presented and why we call ourselves the Boeckle Group Premium Real Estate. It all lines up together.
Yeah. Now, so in this world of cut rate agents and 1% listings, you guys went the opposite direction. We're going to cater to a higher class of higher person that's willing to pay for good service.
We're a boutique brokerage offering a premium service and premium product.
Nice. How much volume did you guys run through the brokerage last year?
So volume wise in sales, we did like just over 100 million in sales volume last year. Thank you.
Nice job.
Brokerage agents with 24 agents. I think we did 146 deals. And then our flip company, we did like 56 flips. So,
okay. Let me ask you this. So you got your broker, you own this brokerage, you got your flipping company, you got your off-market company, you got your Airbnb company. How are you guys doing it without working 300 hours a week?
We have to hire people. That's what I was speaking to some of the partnerships that we're doing. So with our off-market endeavor with you, we have 2 other people and now a leads manager. So that's a group of 5.
Right.
And it's still very time consuming, but we're able to delegate. And that's the key to everything. Even our construction, we have a construction manager who's bidding, managing, making sure all the projects happen. We just hired a listing agent who lists all of our flips. And
we listed and sold. So Jesse and I ourselves, which is crazy to back it up. Jesse and I, just him and I, we found our own properties. We analyzed the numbers on every property we've ever bought. We managed all the construction. So we were out in the field, designing. 6-7 days a week, designing, managing. When stuff got broken into, we were out there. I remember Jesse and I waking up multiple nights in a row, 11, 12 a.m. because squatters got in a house and we had to go call the cops because if not, they destroy the house that's listed on the market.
We did A to Z.
A to Z we've done. And just this last year and a half, we finally started automating and delegating, which has really given us the ability to scale immensely in 2021.
Have you guys read this book?
Yeah,
we have.
That was one of our first reads.
Are you guys implementing? If you're listening to the show, I showed Traction, the book, the EOS. Have you guys implemented it?
That's a great book for anyone listening.
It's good. It fits right into both our personalities, our management styles, the way we interact with each other, and then other people in the office. It really aligned with us a lot.
Yeah. Personality styles were so different, which has made it work so well. We're just such on different, sides of the spectrum in terms of personality. I'm a lot more of a driver, kind of maverick style. Jesse's a lot more of an integrator style, much more, pays much more attention to detail. I'm more of I throw it in the fire, let's go type guy.
Which we did before we even read that. We just naturally did that on our own.
Did you guys, have you guys implemented the EOS stuff at all?
Not completely or fully, but I know how important it is.
Yeah. So we had guys on episode 354, Ian Morrell and Zach Lazo from Seattle, and they had a brokerage similar to yours idea, but they were also outsourcing, like selling off-market deals, and there was more of an investor brokerage. They just sold their 80-person brokerage to Compass. But they do that. And so they had their off markets, they had their fix and flips, they had their rental portfolio, and they had their brokerage side of the business. But I remember Ian told me one time, he's like, I can run 3 of the 4 with a 1.5 hour meeting a week because it's so systematized. And so you can do more things. And I really took that to heart in a lot of ways as well. It sounds like you guys is like, you have to in order to grow, you have to get yourself out of the equation. Like I'm the biggest bottleneck at the end of the day. because I have too many things going on. Same with you guys, probably. There's too many things in your brain you have to get out of the way. And so that's the hard part though, right? Because it's hard to let go. Have you guys struggled with that?
About that too is the fact that a lot of people rush to get there. And I think it's important that, just like you mentioned, that we did everything first. So we became experts at every part of the business first, and then hired someone who we knew if they were doing a good job or not.
I mean, it took 5 years to give up the listing side, and we're still involved. Like, we're like 2 months into a listing agent right now, and it's still like, touching base every day. We're still going to have control, but let off at the same time. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, my wedding was last week. I haven't gone on a vacation and not had to worry about anything since we started this business. And that's what makes me know that we're going in the right direction. Is I left for 2 weeks, came back, and things were still moving full speed ahead.
Homes were closed, homes bought, things continued on.
That was like
I did that with my acquisitions. I was doing my acquisitions, and I never wanted to let that go. I'm the seller. I'm the guy that talks to the sellers, the people. That's my thing. And I was just getting too much, so I hired this guy, Tony. And all of a sudden, now he's making offers. He's tying up deals. He's following up with people. He's keeping it organized. He puts a little bucket of anything that this is the only thing that needs your attention every day, like a couple items. And I'm like, what was I effing doing? Why didn't I do this so much sooner? Like, well, this guy is amazing, right?
But you could have hired him without doing it yourself and being the expert that you are.
Exactly. The hire for the call center would be like, hey, I want to hire you guys to cold call for me. Great. Have you been doing this? What have you done in the business? I haven't. I'm just getting started. I want to outsource it. No, you're not using us because you need to go learn how to do it. I literally tell people you need to go cold call for 2 months by yourself on a single line dialer and feel what it feels like before you can actually like hire somebody to do it.
That's a good point.
So let's talk about some of your deals. I know you guys just crushed it with a deal. I see it all over Ryan Pineda's thing. I know you guys are buddies with him. And why don't you talk about that deal that you just crushed it on?
Sure.
And I don't think these deals don't come around a lot. We had 2 big deals to start this year. One of them was a standard deal that just, the market really helped us in. The other one was just a total home run that they just never happened. So,
right place, right time kind of thing.
So the wholesale deal that we did, we locked it up. Jesse and I were MLS guys, which is, one reason we're working together so much right now is we're trying to really get into that direct to seller marketing space. But just kind of a backstory, we buy almost everything we do off the MLS, 50, 60, 70 properties a year, all MLS driven, which is kind of different than all the other investors and flippers out there who.
But I thought there's no deals on the MLS.
Right. That's what most think. So this is an MLS deal. It's a big one. It was listed at 1.95. Mm-hmm. We thought it was worth like 2.5 million, and we were going to flip it and buy it to flip. And we got it locked up at 1.675.
Right.
So our acquisitions guy locked it up 1.675, 300,000 under list. And we went through all the motions, got bids on it, did all of our due diligence as if we were ready to close on it, because we were.
We had every intention of buying and flipping this.
And then we had like 1 or 2 during our due diligence. We had a 14-day due diligence. During that 14 days, 1 or 2 huge comps closed in the neighborhood. One model match closed at 3 million, 2.995. And there's 1 or 2 more that closed really high as well. That kind of brought our comp from 2.5 to 3 million instantly.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we could either flip this house, take the risk on it, biggest deal yet by far, and make
700 to 800,
800,000 on the flip, which is great. That'd be awesome. Or we could go look for a buyer for this. We have one in mind that we sold a couple bigger homes to, see if they're interested, and try to make 350, 400,000 on it. And that's what we did. So we toured it with them. They ended up closing on it for $2,012,000. So we made like a $337,000 wholesale fee or assignment fee on it, and moved on. And I think that was a really good decision that we made. I think they're going to make money on it. We could have flipped it and made money on it, but that would have bottlenecked our company like crazy. If we would have tied up 2.2 million, that's 5, 6, 7 deals worth of income that we couldn't have used for the listing agent, the project manager, that they get paid per deal, it would have really bottlenecked our company.
That's a 6-month project. It's going
Right.
to take that long. And we were able to make that excellent wholesale profit, move on, buy a whole nother group of homes, which we've already done. And we're already halfway through those. And so it was more of a business decision, because both sides are great. Make profit or make a bigger profit. You can't lose.
And that's one thing I like about our mentalities that I think kind of shows is, we thought about our company along with that. Like Jesse and I could have made 800,000 on that. That would have been cool for Jesse and I. But what about the fact that our project manager only has one deal to manage and make money off of versus 10 more deals? And same with our listing agent and transaction coordinator. So for our company, we really thought about them first to keep things rolling and keep the machine going. So at the end of the day, $350,000, $340,000 wholesale deal, super crazy deal. I haven't heard of one that big yet.
But. She also, the buyer that we ended up wholesaling this to, she's pretty close to us now. We've sold her 2 deals, and she's probably going to buy a deal just like that every year from us from now on, if not more than one. So that,
and she's winning too, because she's going to make $400,000. That's a good 1 or 2 houses a year. She's winning huge.
Right.
Yeah, we found her very good deals, including this one in the past. And so I know that when she wants to buy another $1 million flip, she's coming to us. And so that relationship alone, it could be worth whatever we passed on.
Right. How do you guys get that how do you guys put that on the HUD? Did you guys?
She signed a $337,000 assignment.
No, I understand that. Did anybody balk on the seller side?
No,
we do that so they don't really.
Yeah, let's do a buyer side, because everybody worries like, what happens if they see this assignment fee? They're like, oh, I got to double close, and I'm like, just put a buyer side HUD and a seller side HUD.
Right, and that's what we did. We did a silent HUD or something like that, so they couldn't see it. So that was a good deal. But breaking it down for the people watching, we locked this property up on the MLS. It cost us like $10,000 in earnest money to lock it up. We didn't have to close on it. We went out, found the buyer, did our due diligence, and closed a $337,000 assignment from the MLS. So it is possible to do these type of crazy deals from what's listed on the market. And we do it all the time. This is not the first one we've done from the MLS like that.
Yeah, but it's not the entry level houses. It's you gotta think outside the box, right? You gotta go find. You tied it up. You had every intention to close it. You put a good earnest money down, but you were like, okay, what if we could do this? And you thought outside the box, and then you go find the buyer. You have this Rolodex of people. You guys put a deal together. You deserve to get paid. You did a great job.
Yeah. And that wasn't even, I don't think, the deal that you were even mentioning, because the deal that's on Ryan's YouTube, the deal that we're posting about is our Roma Hills, our luxury flip, that a similar instance happened where the market appreciation during our ownership is what made it worth so much and what made the profit, what created all that profit. But this is the one that we decided we actually bought it and went through with it. But when we did, we had estimated profits of, around 10%, which probably would have paid us about 100 to 150, which is great. It's a great profit to make on $1 million deal. It's what we look for. But when we bought it, comp had sold. During renovation, another comp. Almost finished, another comp. And it just continued to raise the bar. So we ended up with a hot potato that we really wanted at that moment with that house.
Yeah. And there is a lot, I think. I don't like to call it luck so much, because you put yourself in the right spot at the right time with good fundamentals, but there has been some good luck in the last year if you've owned properties, right? But how are you guys protecting yourself? The biggest concern I always have is what happens if the music stops, right? So how are you guys, my partner and I, we always say we never press, right? We're going off today's numbers, today's rehab budgets, all these things, and we're overinflating our rehab budget and underestimating what we sell it for. How are you guys protecting yourselves?
Same exact way. I mean, one thing that we have learned from the dads is to be a little bit more conservative. Jesse and I just naturally are a little bit more conservative when it comes to buying and evaluating properties. Like you get guys like Ryan, who's like, oh, I'll buy 30 properties this month. We're not so much that.
It's okay to lose on a couple.
Right. Like we could do that, but we don't want to put ourselves in that position. And, one thing that there's guys making a lot of money around, our dads in 2005, 2006. But when the music stopped, they fell apart completely when these guys kept their head above water because they played the game a different way. they weren't making as much at that time, but at the end of the day, who's worth more? So I think we're just a little bit more conservative, but we definitely play only off here and now comps, recently sold comps. Sometimes we will buy a home off of what's in escrow.
Yep.
If we talk to the agent and if the buyer's agent or listing agents will give us the information and tell us we've gotten past appraisal, we've gotten past repairs, and it's going to close really close to this number.
Yep.
We'll use those because obviously by the time construction's finished, that's going to be our most recent comp. But
because the market's moving so quick, sometimes you can't comp off solds. Like my wife and I are selling stuff and we're trying to comp and we're like, oh, what are we going to price this at? And like, you have to go to pendings almost right now because it's just changing so fucking quick.
But even then, when we see that and we see, okay, here's the new level of where we think this is going to be worth, we're not taking it and then adding a whole nother premium onto that. We're pretty much staying right in line with that.
Yep.
And we're buying and running all of our numbers based off of that.
right. And that's what we buy off of. But when we go to sell, of course, is why our numbers this year are so inflated. Yeah, we're pushing on the sell.
Yep.
But if all else fails and things fall apart and we have a 10% correction or 5%, whatever it is, we're either we could either break even or make a little bit of profit.
Yeah. To answer your question there, like what happens when the music stops? We kind of went through more or less of like a fire drill last year when COVID hit and everyone decided or couldn't decide what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our time where we're like, you know what, let's be overly conservative again. Let's be super cautious. And we kind of went into like offload mode where we weren't like just fire sailing everything, but we discounted stuff. We decided to take, half of what we thought we would make on it, still making profits.
Yep.
Being able to offload that inventory in a relatively short period of time kind of showed us, okay, if something does happen, God forbid something happens like overnight, like a terrible, horrible natural disaster. But if things do start to turn, we're going to measure it. We're going to see it happening and we can act in a way that actually gets us out of risk fairly quickly.
Yep. But it's the guys that you heard a lot of the guys that would try to slowly ride down the market on their way down instead of saying, fuck it, I'm cutting it by 20% right now. Take my win, take my loss, take my licks instead of taking it 5%, all of a sudden now they're 40% because they didn't take your licks, right?
Right.
I'd rather offload, not be super happy with what happened with that current inventory and rebuy a whole new set based off of what we see happening.
Yeah. Because it's a long game, right? I think that's the problem. And many of you guys could talk about this with new people getting in. And they look at this, you made $340,000 on this wholesale deal. You did this, and they're thinking quick money. Everybody's selling quick money, right? They don't sell long-term game, right? Like your dad's, my partner, one of my partners has been doing fix and flips for 25 years, buying the auctions, hundreds of homes a year to, through 2008. It's a long-term game. Mm-hmm. Relationships matter. You don't fuck anybody. How are you guys, and that sounds like what you guys are doing is setting yourself up for that. Have you guys built anything for what are your cash flows so you make sure you can have income covering expenses, your business? What's your thoughts on that side of it?
We're definitely building this for a long term and creating more automation and stability so that we can see regular income and regular profits so that we can plan and forecast and do things that build a legitimate business, not something that you're stuck in. You know what I mean? You're stuck in, you're wondering what's happening. And the moment you stop working, the money stops.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of things we're working on. We're buying rentals, so we are buying long-term assets. We should have been doing it a lot sooner, but we're doing it now and, better late than never. So that's one thing that we're working on. We're actually kind of found ourselves in a little niche, furnished rentals, which has been great.
You're going to give them a little secret?
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, it's good. I think people would really love to hear this.
Yeah, no. So, we had an Airbnb, went south, Las Vegas. You can't have Airbnbs. Henderson.
They cut them out. You can't have Airbnbs anymore in Vegas.
They're illegal to have in the city of Las Vegas. In the city of Henderson, you can get a permit and do it. We decided if you look on Airbnb, there's so many in Las Vegas that operate and they do well. So we're like,
right. We're born and raised in Vegas. So we decided to just roll those dice and see what would happen within so we have a badass Airbnb and we decked it out and we're booked out. We put it on the market in January. We're booked out through May. immediately, like fully booked through May. So we're like, oh man, we're going to net like 4,000 or 5,000 a month off this unit. This is going to be insane. Let's do more. 3 weeks in, boom, code enforcement note on the front door, shut down right away. Anything, $1,000 a day fine if we kept going with it. So we had to back out of it, and we're like, okay, this is also mid-COVID. Remember, this is when COVID hit. We had probably 15 cancellations all in the same day.
Calendar cleared.
So we were caught by code enforcement. Airbnbs shut down because no one could travel. So we're like, damn, what do we do? We're left with this fully furnished rental. We got guys in there for 6 months for, I think our all-in costs on it with mortgage and everything is like $2,400 a month. We put them in there for $4,000 a month. So good cash flow. And now we got guys in there for $4,200 or $4,300 a month or something like that.
A little over $4,000, yeah.
For a year. Yeah. So now we're like, oh wow, fully furnished rental. That house without being furnished probably pulls $2,000, $2,500 a month. And it's furnished. We got $4,000 a month for it. So we bought another one. Our all-in cost on that one is $1,900 a month. Intentionally doing it as a furnished rental to try to play the game. Put a 1-year tenant in for $4,300 a month.
Nice stuff.
So we're kind of thinking this might be a little bit of a trend that we're following. So we're going to keep trying this and seeing how it goes. And that's kind of what we're working on right now is the fully furnished rental business here in Vegas.
Nice. Yeah. I remember guys telling me down in Scottsdale that these guys were dumping their Airbnbs because they were getting screwed for that first 2 or 3 months of the pandemic, right? And they're dumping these things, just trying to get out of them because they had bought them way too high and they're barely making that much money. And then because they overpaid for them and they're doing all this. And so that's a great pivot. That's what I think. And tell me if I'm wrong. I think when bad shit happens, the guys that win are the guys that pivot, right? And so there's always a pivot. Like your dads, they pivoted. You guys pivoted. You changed things. You pivoted. You're not like, oh, poor me. Life's hard. You're like, okay, there's always going to be an opportunity to pivot, right?
I mean, we could have said, oh man, we had Airbnb's dead. Let's just sell the house. And if we lose 10 grand on it, who cares? We get out of that. You get out of the house. We said, no, we have something here. This is a great house, great property. It's fully furnished. Let's go for it. And we got it. And then we did it again and we got it again. So
that's awesome.
Got to adjust.
Nice. So you guys have started a YouTube channel. I'm maybe off of the pressuring of Ryan or because you want to be like Ryan or whatever. I don't know. Tell me how that started and tell me what your guys' goals are for that.
So we're seeing one of the biggest things right now in this industry is the education in this industry. You're seeing so much money be made and so many people just like rise to new heights by becoming educators. Yeah. And so that's in our eyes, what are we thinking? We're thinking, okay, well, this is another business. We're not just doing this for fun. We're not just doing this because we think it's cool or someone showed us how to do it. We want to make a business and we see how it can be run as a business. And so that's where our intentions come from.
Yeah. And we've been on social media for a while now. We've been doing Instagram for a long time. When we first started, if you go back on our Instagram page, it's, we've been doing property walks and stuff for a long time. Ryan's a great coach, has done a great job. We're part of his coaching program. He's given us a lot of good tidbits on it. So, thanks to him. But at the end of the day, going back to what we said at the beginning of the video, we didn't come from hard times. We didn't come from, we didn't have our backs against the wall. And for those who that do, we want to be able to help people like that. We want to be able to give those people education and opportunities, like finding someone that will, you could build trust in that will give you money to buy your first deal without you having to spend your own, just putting the hard work, that hustle and showing people that there's so many creative ways to do real estate. And that's one thing that I've always loved about this business. It's the one thing that's given me that fire in my heart about real estate is, one, there's no right or wrong way to do it. And there's no limit to it either. Your first deal could be a multi-million-dollar deal, or your first deal could be a small deal that gets you going and gets you fired up. There's no right or wrong way. There's a million different types of real estate transactions that can be done. No two transactions are alike. And we just want to show that. And we want to help people that, kids trying to decide if they should go to college or not. I don't know. There's a lot of free education out there nowadays. There's a lot of people willing to teach and willing to mentor to get you started and get you moving.
I think we've naturally found ourselves to be good teachers and mentors with agents and people that work around us. Like an example is when one of your best friends came and worked for us, brand new to real estate, got his license. And 3 years later, he's flipping 25, 35 properties a year. Like he's a full-blown investor with a badass business. And we taught him everything he knows.
Right. He started as a waiter.
We see that around us and we're like, okay, there's obviously more people that would like to learn this type of stuff. Let's take this to a bigger scale and just expose this information to the masses and see how many people the community we can create around helping people learn this industry.
Yeah. I love that you guys started out saying, I'm a capitalist. We're doing this to make money. But we're also here to actually show and teach, because you gotta, like, if somebody doesn't have money in skin in the game, they're not gonna like really be that into it, right? But what I've learned from doing this podcast, and I'm not selling coaching. I just don't have time for it. But it's helping grow the call center. But this podcast and the call center, I have met so many freaking people that are like, now I know a guy in Michigan. I know a guy in Florida. I know a guy in Vegas. I know a guy in LA. I know all these guys. I know a guy from Switzerland because I'm trying to get my freaking Rolex. And I all these things. So I'm meeting all these people, and you're just building your pipeline, which then, okay, say you don't sell a ton of coaching, but you know all these people. Well, all of a sudden they have this apartment deal that they want to bring you in on, or I need to raise money. And they're like, oh, I have a bunch of money to raise. It's just that community, like you guys talked about, of like, I don't need 1 million people to follow me. I just need a good amount of the right people to follow me.
Yeah. I mean, we're not selling a coaching program yet. maybe in the future, if things develop, maybe we'll develop one too, but
I'd buy it.
Yeah. Thank you. Up front, it's more so for the opportunity. Your network determines your net worth. We know that opportunities come about. I want to meet people that find our videos that are super motivated, that want to come work with us here at the office. It's recruiting good people into the office, recruiting good people onto the team, dealing with people like you and Cole and your team, from social media, right? Developing partnerships, developing new strategic companies. There's so much that comes from social media that, above and beyond selling a tutorial for money, which is still a great business. You coach people, you deserve to get paid for it. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would highly recommend. I've been thinking this the whole time. So I did a show a couple of weeks ago with Kevin Lee, the producer of the Bigger Pockets podcast. He produces all of them. And we talked about how to get on podcasts for one, and then how to start your own podcast. And Tucker has seen a ton of success with his Portland real estate podcast, where they partnered. They had the investor, and you guys are great because you have both facets, right? He has a broker that owns part owner of a huge brokerage there. And they also have Tucker, the investor. But not only has he got to meet these mayor candidates, the mayors, the huge mortgage brokers, commercial lenders, all these people he gets to meet to have on the show to become the expert. But then he's also getting agents listening to it, and then they're bringing him deals. And so it's like, I would highly think that you guys should really look into starting a local Las Vegas show if you haven't already, and listen to that podcast of why it's important, and then listen to Tucker's Portland real estate show, because it's just another way, especially in your sphere in Vegas, to get yourself out there. And with the guys your dads know and the relationships you guys have built over the years, I think it really would benefit you.
Probably would. Yeah.
It's a great idea. We really are focusing on YouTube, our YouTube channel to start, because it's all so much time and effort, just like you said.
Yeah, there's so much, like, that's what people don't understand about this content game. Like, I have interns working for me to put this stuff out there, but it's like, I got to plan a show every week. And if somebody bails on me, I try to stay a couple weeks ahead. If they bail on me, then what do I do? And how do I edit it? How do I get it out there? How do I put it on Instagram and make it not look stupid? And, dude, it's a business.
I'm not just on here, we don't have a lot of time. I mean, we're buying and selling properties. We are embedded in our business still. We're not fully automated where we don't have to touch our business. We're fully embedded in our business on a daily basis, trying to improve it. Yeah. So the YouTube, this content and social media set on top is a lot of work. So
yeah, then you got to go hire somebody to run your business, which is $100,000 or whatever, $200,000, huge salaries to go to free up time so you can go do this thing that might not make money for 6, 12, 24 months because you think it might work. And it's just like, so then you got to cover that overhead. That's the hard part of it. there's never enough money.
Right.
No matter, we're doing these deals, these big deals, and it's like, there's never enough money. You always like, it's so crazy.
Right.
And it's just such a game of like managing that process.
I do feel confident though in what we're doing. If we continue to do it the way we are and provide value first, I think we will benefit more fold with the value that comes back.
Totally.
Over and above, just because that, just like you said, it's the people you meet, it's the connections you make. And not only that, but it's a business in itself too. So more than just dollars from the business, it's other endeavors and other strategic partners
and friendships too. I mean, like
yeah.
We're friends, you know.
Maybe one day you'll bring us like this multifamily deal that's really, really nice that we can partner up on. And
maybe I get invited to Jesse's wedding. I didn't get invited to yours. Maybe we'll be good enough friends I can get in his, or
take you to the lake. Come on down to Vegas and see us.
Yeah. All right, guys, man. So what's the name of your YouTube channel?
The Boeckle Brothers.
Boeckle Brothers. What's Instagram? What's their Instagram? We should push it. Same, the Boeckle Brothers. Everything's branded that.
TikTok, cool. Instagram, YouTube. You can find us, the Boeckle Brothers.
Show us some support, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out this TikTok world. I know I got to do it, but I'm just like, I have no clue.
You need help, let us know.
TikTok's been wild lately, though. They changed some stuff up, so it's getting harder than it was before. So
I was looking at it on my phone, and like, how do I do this? How old am I? Like, how do I not know this?
Can make you feel a little.
You just got to do a dance and point to
That's
stuff.
Right. I did that. I did one, and I pointed like this, and I posted it on my Instagram story, and I'm like, aren't things supposed to pop up? Like, how do I make this happen? Like, I don't know.
Good. Great.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Hopefully we can do a follow-up soon and hang out. I think Cole and I are going to try to come to Vegas in the next month or so. So looking forward to it.
All right, brother. It's so much fun. We enjoy everything you do. We're glad to, be partners with you and friends now. So
cool.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on.
All right. See you guys.